wanted to show you some fun techniques that we can incorporate into the floral industry from other art forms. Pour painting, I think, is just really fascinating, and I've always wanted to try to work that into the floral design. And I'm using like a sturdy type of leaf, like a tea leaf. You can be able to do this. And pour painting, all it is mixing paints and letting it blend and letting it bloom, and then pouring it over your materials, whatever you want to cover. So we're going to start with that. So the first things that let me show you what we're doing. So this is like one of them. So if you can see the mixtures of colors of paint that's on that, I just love it because everything is always so different, and depending upon the color palettes that you want to create, you can do it with any colors. Here's a pink one that we've done. But pour painting to me is fascinating. And if you're going to use this in a floral design, then what you want to do, this has to be the emphasis, because this is going to take, there's not a lot of cost involved, because acrylic, you use acrylic paints and it's not that expensive, but it's the time factor that you're putting into it, the time that it dries. It takes probably over 24 hours to be completely dry, depending on how thick you pour it. So that's going to depend. So it has to be a durable product that you use, as far as like your foliage leaves and things, so it's got to be sustainable. And then you've got to be able to also to let them out of water for just a little while so you can have all the paint run off, and then put it on. So let me show you how the process is done. The first product that we use is called Foliage, and all it does is it makes the paint run better. So it doesn't diminish the coloring of your paint. So you want to use about equal parts of Foliage and then your base paint. The color that you want is your base paint. I'm going to use purple as my base paint this morning. So I'm putting that in, and then I just usually use like a paintbrush just to mix that together. So it takes just a little bit to mix that all so that it's all combined. And that Foliage, all it does really is just allows the paint to run better. And that's what to me is just really kind of fun. So I've got my purple base, and then I want to come back with all my other colors that I want to add to it. So I've got a little bit of blue, and so I'm going to put some light blue dots of acrylic paint in. There's no random pattern that you have to do. You can do it any way that you want to. How about a little bit of orange? Got a little bit of red. So what other color palette that you want to create, just add it to it. I've got some little bit of aqua. And I always like to add a little bit of black, just because that gives me dimension in it. So just a little bit of black, doesn't take a lot. And then I'm going to also add a little bit of gold, just to give me a little shimmer. And I also like to add sometimes a little bit of white. Here I've got some pearl essence. Then I'm just going to add a few dots of that. So then you can take, I usually use like a toothpick, and all I do is just kind of swirl it around so everything is kind of just incorporated enough that you can see that it's colored, that it's got some great colors in it. It kind of looks like a paisley a little bit. So then you start, and this is the messy part, so you've got to be really careful with this, but I like to start on one side of the leaf so then I can prop it this way and let it run. So I'm going to just pour it over one side. You can wear gloves if you want to, if you're afraid you're going to get it on your hands. I'm going to save that back. And you can see that it just starts to run. So you want to kind of control it a little bit depending upon where you want the paint to go. And that's flooding it. Now once it kind of gets started, I like to use a product that really is kind of, this is silicone oil. And what it does is it makes it bloom. So I'm just going to add a little bit, and it does funky things. So just add a little bit to the top of that. And we're just going to let it run. So I want to catch the edges and come across so that you can see. And you can see how messy this could be. Just letting it get in control. So we're just going to let it run all the way down. And it takes just a few minutes for you to kind of really manipulate this so that it does have some fun with it. So we're just letting it run. You can see it's just, and it's changing, it's constantly changing, and that's what, to me, what is so fascinating about this pour painting. And it's really, to me, is super, very cool. So it just takes a little while for you just to kind of move it around so you've got every space that you want covered Even if it comes off the end, that's why you want to put it on a container or some plastic or whatever you want to do, so you don't have to worry about it so much. And when you find that, okay, so it's not running quite as much as I want it to, you take the rest of it and just add it on to wherever you want it to be. And you just let it pour around. And you can play with that as much as you want. You can see how fun this is becoming. And if you use too much paint, a lot of it's going to run off. So you have to be really careful about that. You don't want a lot of it on there. You just want enough to be able to manipulate and just to create some fun looks. So as you can see, I'm just going to set this down. Just moving that around continually, then you'll end up with this. And one of the things that you can do, which I think is really kind of cool, is that if you start at this end and kind of get it so it's starting, so it's running this direction, if you hang it upside down then to let it drip off, excuse me, into a container or onto some type of paper, then just like hang it on a line with a clothespin, and then it'll continue to run and run and run until it dries. So again, it takes about 24 to 30 hours for that to really dry nicely. And again, I would definitely use this as a focal area in my arrangement. Whether it comes up around it, you do a framing around it, but it has to be emphasized because it's so magnificent. Now you could use Solal, you could do many different products, but the fun part of it is just the outcome. It's like, holy cow, how fun is that when you get whatever pattern that you want to create that look. And you can see how fun that is just to let it run and just to create that look. So again, have fun with just some different things that you can do that ties in other art forms in with the floral art. So again, have fun with pour painting.